On the news, Supreme Court throws out opposition suit challenging President Muhammadu Buhari's re-election. Unknown gunmen abduct Edo State Appeal Court judge. And death toll in Cameroon landslide surged to 42 as search enters second day. A warm welcome to News Now. I am Fidalia Aguncha. President Muhammadu Buhari's re-election victory has again been reaffirmed, this time by Nigeria's apex court. A seven-man panel of the Supreme Court, led by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Mohammed, has dismissed the appeal filed by the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar. The appeal was challenging the results of the February 23rd presidential election. Announcing the court's decision, Justice Mohammed revealed that the seven-man panel studied documents and exhibits tendered by the prosecution counsel for 2 weeks before unanimously deciding to throw out the suit for lacking in merit. Other members of the panel are Bode Rhodes Vivor, Olukayode Ariwola, John Okoro, Aminu Sanusi, Ejembi Eko, and Owani Abaji. Justice Tanko further noted that the reason for the apex court's decision would be announced on a later date, which would be communicated to all concerned.
The Supreme Court has adopted a strategy that sought to deal with these issues expeditiously, such that Nigerians are not detained in fear, in doubt, and all manners of investors are not sure about what is to come and so on. I think the issue of the election is now behind us. And I believe the government, the people of Nigeria will work in unity to take the Nigeria project to the next level. As a party, we dedicate this victory to all those who voted, regardless of how they voted, and in fact to all Nigerians who believe and have faith in democracy and have reposed confidence in our party under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari.
The chapter, paragraphs and lines having to do with 2019 election, especially the presidential aspect, has been laid to rest until 2023. It has been a night of long nights, but we thank God that it has ended peacefully.
There will be problem, because it's now becoming obvious that petitioners will always find it very difficult to prosecute their cases. But all said, until they give their reasons, we'll take it off from there.
Court process, our reason for coming to court is because we believe that the election and the result was not result of lawful vote cast, but the process has come to the end. I thank all those who are involved, the lawyers, the judges, all of you from the 4th estate. This election and the judgment is not about President Buhari or His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. It is about the future of our country and what we are going to bequeath to our children.
Meanwhile, the Federal High Court in Abuja has adjourned for hearing the bail application filed by former chairman of defunct Pension Reform Task Team, Abdulrasheed Maina. Justice Okon Abang gave the ruling after taking the arguments of the defense and prosecution counsel. He adjourned the matter to November 6 for further hearing. Maina is being prosecuted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) on a 12-count charge bordering on money laundering, operating fictitious accounts, and fraud. He has pleaded not guilty to all the charges. Justice Abang had on October 25 ordered the EFCC to remand Maina in the Nigerian Correctional Service Center until his bail application is heard. This means Maina will remain in prison until his bail application is heard or approved by the courts. Gunmen have abducted another judge, this time in Benin City, the Edo State capital. Justice Chioma Nwosu-Iheme of the Benin Court of Appeal was kidnapped today on her way to court. The Edo State Commissioner of Police, Danmala Mohammed, who confirmed the incident, says a manhunt has been launched to track the gunmen and rescue the judge. Justice Nwosu-Iheme is known to be Nigeria's first female judge to study law up to the PhD level, specializing in the law of intellectual property. Her abduction comes just days after a federal high court judge in Akure, Ondo State, Justice Abdul Dogo, was freed by kidnappers who had abducted him last Tuesday at the border between Edo and Ondo State. Justice Dogo was rescued on Saturday by operatives of the Inspector General's Intelligence Response Team from a forest behind the Federal College of Education in Itakpe, Kogi State. President Muhammadu Buhari has met with King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud of Saudi Arabia in Riyadh. The meeting was held on the sidelines of the Future Investment Initiative Conference in Saudi Arabia. President Buhari, alongside his Kenyan, Congo and Burkina Faso counterpart, are some of the African leaders participating in the summit titled "What is Next for Africa?" More than 4,000 delegates from over 90 countries are also taking part in the conference, and President Buhari will be speaking about the economic opportunities in Nigeria and his administration's drive to improve the business environment. President Buhari, at the end of the summit, is expected to proceed on a private visit to London, where he will spend 10 days before returning back to Nigeria. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, have charged the Nigerian government to publicly condemn attacks on journalists and media organizations in order to promote press freedom in the country. The rights group made this call during the launch of a 76-page report titled "A Downward Spiral: How the Federal and State Authorities Are Tightening the Screws of Media Freedom in Nigeria." Adeshawa Odushaga now reports.
The intimidation of Nigerian journalists, bloggers and media organizations is fast becoming a trend, with reports released by Amnesty International indicating that no fewer than 19 journalists have been attacked and thrown behind bars by state governments and security agencies. One of the many victims is Mary Ekere, a journalist who was arrested in September by the Akwa Ibom Environmental Task Force for taking photos of their officials raiding a shop.
My case and the guy who was arrested alongside myself was the only case that was brought up in court that very day. So the case didn't even take up to 20 minutes. Before 2:30, they were done with the case, and you placed a bail fine. Luckily, my dad was there with my siblings. So they met the conditions, only for them to realize when they asked the registrar to take them to the prison for me to be released. He now told him that, we need to go and verify your property. And then there is a place that the magistrate needs to sign. Okay, so where is the magistrate? Let us sign it. So I'll be released. Only for them to realize that the magistrate had gone, which seems to look like it was purposely done, and maybe there was a script they were being rehearsing or acting upon. So it now makes the judiciary to be questioned.
Wife of journalist and rights activist Agba Jalingo, who is facing charges bordering on terrorism, treasonable felony, and attempt to topple the Cross River State government, expresses her dissatisfaction from the media and the state government.
I didn't get the kind of response I expected, or the way my husband would have handled any other person. I know the way he rushed out once he gets a call that this is what is happening here. I know the way he rushes out and take them until that person is okay. Agba Jalingo will not be okay. So I was expecting such. When I didn't get, even from the media, some of them tried, some try, but some that was even expecting that this set of persons or this person will do this, I didn't get that response.
This group of panelists, which consists of activists, journalists, lawyers, and law enforcement agents, discusses the role of the judiciary in ensuring press freedom in their ruling.
We have a lot of problems with the judiciary now, and If we don't stop it now, we are going to have 3 or 4 more generations of judges that cannot uphold the rule of law, that will not follow the Constitution.
If you got your position because of what you are as a judge, then you want to do justice no matter what, whose us is God, even heavens will fall. But when the circumstances that lead to your appointment as a judge has some shenanigans in it, then you won't have choice.
What you give us is what we obey. So indirectly, we are obeying the masters that you have chosen for us. And they are the immediate employer we see. You are behind the mask. They are the ones that are projected. And we obey their commands. But that is not to say that we are not supposed to obey lawful orders.
Now people are interpreting criticism, skating criticism as hate speech. That's totally unacceptable. Because if we want to go back to the case of Atonwako versus the state, the Court of Appeal, when it knocked down sedition law, says specifically that every person in government needs to develop thick skin in terms of criticism.
Amidst this crisis facing journalists in the country, Nigeria is now ranked among the 13 worst countries where killings of journalists have remained unsolved. The report by the Committee to Protect Journalists revealed that the country has 5 unsolved cases over the last 10 years. Adeshewa Dushoga, TV360 Lagos, Nigeria.
The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says combining the governorship and senatorial elections in Kogi State would save the commission 290 million naira. Chairman of the commission, Mahmood Yakubu, announced this while meeting with political parties on Tuesday. Now, according to Mahmood, the commission would spend about 10 million naira instead of 300 million naira that would have been used for the senatorial rerun election. Yakubu also announced that the commission would combine governorship polls in Bayelsa with a supplementary election in 6 places in Braz local government area. The INEC chairman further noted that the commission came to the conclusion on the spending when they were served a court order by the appeal court that nullified the senatorial election of Kogi West. INEC is scheduled to hold governorship elections in Kogi and Bayelsa State on November 16, 2019. Still on political matters, the Court of Appeal in Sokoto State has returned Senator Ibrahim Danbaba and Balarabe Kakale as Senator and House of Reps member in the National Assembly, respectively. In a short judgment read by Justice Frederick Oho, the court said the appeals filed by Danbaba and Kakale, both candidates of the People's Democratic Party during 2019 election, have succeeded. He noted that details on the judgment will be given later. Oho set aside the judgments delivered by Sokoto State Election Petition Tribunal, which dismissed the appellant's petitions in favor of the respondents. The APC candidates that won the elections and occupy the seats at present are Abubakar Shehu Tambuwal for Sokoto South Senatorial District and Aliyu Shehu representing Bodinga Dange Shuni Tureta Federal Constituency. An app known as VGS Quick Emergency Reporting and Response System has been launched in Abuja to complement the effort of security agencies in Nigeria. The web-based dispatch software is a tool that enables quick emergency reporting of incidents by private citizens for the prompt response by security and emergency agencies. With a swipe of a finger on the VGS mobile reporter app, messages and alerts are sent to a specific command center in 5 seconds, for example, Nigeria Police Force Control Room at the police command.
The reporter, as the name suggests, is the reporting component of the system. The reporter function can be performed on a user's phone. The app is downloaded on a smartphone, which could be Android or iPhone, for quick incident reporting. It enables incidents to be reported within 5 seconds of their occurrence to control rooms located in agencies.
At times, when there is an abuse of usage of an application, it makes meaningless of the whole setup. Because I know that from the reporter sometimes if they misinform the dispatcher, there's going to be a very dangerous end result. So there is need to enlighten more the reporters, just like what we are doing now, so that they will flow along with us.
Because of the high rate of crime incidents in the country, that's why we come together and look at it that, okay, we need to bring a solution which can help the citizen to report any incident. And the application is situation awareness system, so that whenever anything happens, in 5 seconds, to get to the control center. So that is the main reason behind the innovation.
Nigeria is making conscious efforts to ensure the country is certified polio-free by the year 2020. Minister of Health Osage Ehanire announced this while briefing journalists at the end of the National Economic Council meeting held in Abuja. Ehanire says the federal government has partnered with state governors to carry out immunization programs across various local government areas in the country to ensure the disease is totally eradicated.
Nigeria is steadily progressing towards polio certification, hopefully in June 2020. And we have not had any case of wild polio virus since 3 years. WHO is working to provide the certification once all the criteria are met. Despite this progress, there is work to be done to sustain the current gains and stop transmission of circulating vaccine-derived polio virus. Yellow fever, measles, and meningitis campaigns will take place in 28 states during this year, and the others will be in 2020. The current aspiration of government is to be able to reach 100 million Nigerians with basic healthcare services when we have been able to revitalize nearly 10,000 primary healthcare centers through a phased approach. Now, the minister requested of the council timely release of state and LGA counterpart funding for polio, yellow fever, measles, and meningitis campaign, the transfer of primary healthcare workers from local government to the state primary healthcare board, and the establishment of a state task force on immunization and primary healthcare to be chaired by the deputy governor in the states.
Well, news now will continue in just a moment. Stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
Madam, madam, welcome. Okay, madam, no worry. When you deliver the balance, we'll give you the goods.
No problem, no problem. All right, so now well done.
Thank you. Hey, Oga, I still say she don't bring money. Maybe we'll use this one for him now.
She wants mahogany, not white wood.
Oga, our work now to join wood together, deliver whatever to customer. Put the remaining profit for pocket.
Abba, this is corruption, not in my country. Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Welcome back. We'll now join Oyin Adekunle for news in business. Hello, Oyin.
Hi, Fidelia.
So I hear the Central Bank of Nigeria and the federal government are looking to empower cotton producers in the country. Could you tell us more about
Very correct. The Central Bank of Nigeria has approved a fresh loan of 19.18 billion naira to 9 cotton processing firms with a view to retooling their processing plants. The Apex Bank has also set aside the sum of 500 million naira to recycle old naira notes being mopped up by the deposit money banks across the country. CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele said the 19.18 billion naira made available to cotton firms would be disbursed at a single-digit interest rate. The funds, according to him, will help to sustain their operations and improve their production capacity. He also said the same support would be extended to the textile and garment firms. He spoke on Tuesday at the signing of 2 memorandum of understanding held at the Apex Bank's headquarters in Abuja.
That the electoral outcome was born, and Nigerians are reacting to that.
Area of Lagos, as early as 7 a.m. Some minutes past the incident has been managed.
Headquarters this morning to display how
Well, the Bulls took back control at the NSE today, recovering losses made in previous session. At the close of midweek trading, the all-share index, which opened at 26,244 basis points, increased by 0.25%. And we also see that market capitalization of all listed equities saw a 32 billion naira increase to close at 12.807 trillion naira today. And in all of this, a total of 156.849 million units of shares were traded in 3,088 deals, and the sum of that was 1.809 billion naira. Market breadth closed with 8 gainers versus 11 losers. And considering the ratio, you may wonder why. You may also consider how the market still ended in the greens despite the ratio of losers and gainers. Well, that will be thanks to the performance of large and medium capitalized stocks in the market. And speaking of large equities on the NSE, Dangote Cement always appears on the list. Dangote Cement actually led the price gainers today with a 3 naira gain. USCN also went from selling at 6 naira to 6 naira and 45 kobo per share for today. And of course, Access Bank and University Press PLC also increased by 15 kobo and 11 kobo respectively. So the stocks that are lagging far behind, we have Flour Mill and WAPCO unfortunately losing today. Stocks in the Financial Services Index also fell. We have Zenith Bank and Unity Bank also recording a combined loss of 9 kobo. And on the global level, let's see, FTSE is rising today, trading higher, up by 0.34%. Dow Jones also consolidated its previous advance, while Nikkei index closed lower at 0.57% decrease. And that's it on business news. Now we'll be right back after this break.
On TV360, we don't just ask the questions. What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it? We seek answers.
Constitution is constituent. Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action. People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country? I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly. God forbid that I go to join that band.
TV360, providing clarity to issues.
Welcome back. Let's now move to the foreign scene. The death toll from the landslide caused by heavy rains in Cameroon's Bafoussam town has risen to 42 people overnight. Rescue teams have spent the last 2 days scouring the rubble of destroyed houses for survivors. Cameroon Radio Television CRTV reported that the bodies of 26 children are among the recovered bodies. Heavy rains have continued beyond the end of Central Africa's rainy season, causing severe flooding, which has displaced nearly 30,000 people in Cameroon's neighbor, Central African Republic. Argentine player Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo have been nominated for the Best Men's Player Prize at the 11th edition of the 2019 Globe Soccer Awards. They were shortlisted alongside Manchester's Bernardo Silva, Mohamed Salah, Alisson Becker, Sadio Mane and Virgil van Dijk. Meanwhile, manager of Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp, has also been nominated for Coach of the Year award alongside former Juventus Massimiliano Allegri, Eric Ten Hag of Ajax and Jamel Belmadi of Algeria. The ceremony will take place on the 29th of December 2019 in Dubai. And that's it on News Now. Many thanks for watching. I am Fidelia Aguncha. Bye for now.